Good morning, traders. Welcome to the Bookmap All Markets live order flow analysis. I'm your host, Bruce. We do this every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. East Coast time. Yeah, you can reach out to us or me at Bruce at Bookmap, and this is my Bookmap handle and my Twitter handle just below here. Let's go through the disclosures and jump right in. General disclosure, all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Just one more item here. We will be starting tomorrow our new Blue Jacket competition with on May 10th. We do it on the 10th of every month, well, at least the last few months, and you can sign up. So just go to Blue Jacket bookmap/bluejacket.com. I believe that's it. It might be bookmap.com. Yeah, it's bookmap.com Blue Jacket. Hold on a minute here. Yeah, that is the correct link. All right, so here it is here. I'll put this into the chat for you guys in Discord as well as in YouTube. Okay, there you guys go. All right. Aloha, Tony. Good morning. Any markets in particular you guys want to take a look at? Here we typically just go through the S&P. This is what most people want to see. So let's go through it. What are we looking at? What's happening here? Again, not looking for much today like yesterday. So we're looking at a pretty choppy environment most likely. Here's why. All right, so let's look at the daily over here. This big green candle here on the daily on the left hand side was Friday. Okay, so a big move to the upside on Friday. Unbelievable bull flag pattern. In fact, we were looking at shorting up in this area here and then taking some profit on the way back down into maybe some of these areas here. But my God, the bulls came right back in and brought it all the way back up. And we went through this scenario. It's important to go through all these scenarios. That it would come up into these wicks up in here where there was selling pressure earlier or lack of buyers or both. Now you can see what has unfolded. Here's our bull flag here. You can see it on the hourly. This is the hourly chart here. And then here's the move back up. And then here's today's action. All right, so a gap down and a gap down below what? Okay, look at the previous low here from yesterday. Okay, this is only the regular trading hours chart. Okay, all three of them are. Well, two of them are at least. The daily chart, let's take a look at it. Let's zoom in a little bit here. All right, so we're going to get a feel for what's happening here. Okay. All right. So we can see in here that yesterday's basically this kind of a spinning top or candle here. It just went to the high, went to the low, closed in the middle. Now today you can see the gap down. All right, that's the red part in here, we're testing that low here. You can see it on the 15-minute and you can see it on the hourly. All right, so we just had a little bit of buying pressure come in. Looks like it was trying to maybe close the gap in here, and you see the sellers slam the door on it. Here we are right back to the open. All right, so you can see what's going on in here, we're kind of all over the place. Here's the since 5 a.m. this morning, it's been just a sideways chop consolidation, move to the downside, move to the upside, right back in the middle again. All right, so now let's take a look in here. What's happening in the order flow? We're going to, again, look at the price action here to confirm it with the volume and the order book. All right, so what do we have? All right, well, first off, the knee-jerk reaction for the market at the open was to go to the downside. Not on a lot of heavy sell volume, though. All right, we can see that buyers creep back in here, and then they move the market up to the top of the range here. All right, so there's our resistance up there. The market sells off, and again, you get a bull flag here, right? And we get another move here. So leg one, pull back, leg two, or impulse one, pull back, impulse two. And what unfolded here? Well, it traded up into high liquidity in here, getting these sellers here on the offer getting filled. And we can see we're down below now where these buyers came in. All right, so we're down at the bottom of this range here. All right, so looking for a little bit of support here. Looking for hitting some stops down here. And then maybe we'll get a move back up to just about here. Just 36 and a quarter. So, I don't know, point and a half, couple point move back up to 36 or so. We'll see. If that would be the likely scenario here, but let's take a look closer. All right, and let's look at the small structure in here. The opposite scenario would be that we're gonna get a lack of buyers up here. It exhausts out, and then we'd get sellers down here. That would be the scenario. If we get that, then we're looking for the move lower. Now, one of the things that we talked about yesterday in detail is going through these scenarios, looking at for these moves to unfold, but also looking at the trap volume on one side or the other that will fuel the move. Okay, and right now, do we have enough fuel in this? And I would say no. All right, just looking at this sideways consolidation from here onward, and let's take a look at it. Well, what do we have in here? All right, so within this consolidation period here, there's buyers, there's sellers. Here's a bit of exhaustion here. Now, let's see. We should get some sellers here at the bottom edge. Okay, and a move down. There we go. There's our move down. All right. Now, be careful, though. All right. We always look for this move here. That should be a stop run. It is, some of it. But it's not. It's only like a point and a half or so. It's basically 1 point in the S&P. All right. So what we're careful about here is this a pure move here, or is this going to be a trap and we get buyers back up above it? Okay. So are we going to get our buyers up here, our big green dots up here? If we do, then we'd be moving back up into what we were looking for earlier, right up here. Okay, this 36 and a half. Okay, so let's see here. So anyway, some good selling, and it moved lower. It moved into this liquidity here, and they pulled that liquidity from the market as well. Okay, and we do have our stop run here and here. All right, now here come our buyers. Okay, now let's see if they can move it to the top of the range, 36 and a half. And then we look for a stop run also to the upside here. Good morning, Peter. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Slow down and let's see, is Rob in here today? Good morning, Rob. There you are. All right. Still looking for it to trade up here. The 30, at least the 36 here, the liquidity there. You can see how the order book changed a bit as we started coming up. The sellers became a lot more interested here at 36 and also here at 37 and a half. All right, so now we're looking to see if we can get a trap on the other side here. Okay, so we'd be looking for maybe these guys to be trapped. And then we're looking for sellers down here now. And then that would be follow through to the downside into 31, which would be kind of, that would be low of the day. All right, so is that enough? Is that enough buyers in here? Now, structurally, it's looking pretty good, actually. We're starting to get a little sell action here. Now, if we get enough right in here and some exhaustion on the buy side and a little bit of selling here, 33.5, I would look for this move to unfold down to 31. Here we go. Let's see if we can get it here. It's not very convincing right now. Anyway, this is not a trade recommendation. We will talk about trade management though. Okay, so how would you manage a trade like this? Where would you get in? You know, how would you take advantage of this? All right, well, yeah, there's not enough meat on the bone here to really make a convincing argument for the sell side right now. The only convincing argument is these buyers up here, basically. Meaning that these buyers up here will be sellers down here into 31. Here we go. Yeah, looking for more sellers here. Now, yeah, again, like now we can go over this scenario here. This is something that Deborah has brought up the last 2 sessions. Okay, do you want to be a seller at the bottom edge of this here? No, we don't. Okay, we want to be a seller up here or up here on the top edges. Okay, and then go with the flow here. Okay, so the trend is down, right? We're starting to see some buyers come in though, but you know, this is just not convincing down here, right? So we will stay away from it, right? And just by looking at the sellers in here, looking at the behavior of the traders within this price action here, and that's the key. All right, so let's see what it looks like back up here at the top of the range. Okay, here we are. Should get the buyers to come through here. Anyway, guys, we're trying to, you know, we're not trying to make a trade here. We're just identifying the players in here and what's kind of going on in here, because it's not really, there's not really much to look at here. Okay, there are buyers, and there's the push higher. All right, that's it. That's all I'm looking for. Now let's see if we get rejection and then sellers here. Yep. All right, let's a little bit more buying in here. So let's zoom in. Now we can kind of, we've got a little more to look at here now. Okay, we've got these buyers here. They traded into high liquidity. Okay, here and here. Okay, we can zoom in and we can see the transactions, and some of it pulled. Okay, but you can see some transactions into that liquidity there. Okay, so here's our exhaustion. All right, let's see now. Let's see if we get our sellers here. Okay, now it's not a trade recommendation, but yeah, I'm looking for the sellers to try to take it down to 34.5, bottom of the range 33 here. So what we're looking for here is rejection here, and the sellers would have to be here. They've got to be here. It is kind of bottom of this little range in here, but in the bigger picture, we're looking for a failure of this breakout, right? So it kind of is top of the range here. right? So yeah, let's see, we're looking for our sellers here. And we just don't see much in the order book here either helping us. Okay, but yeah, we're still looking for our sellers here, right? There they go. All right, now again, like, did we have a lot here to look at to really kind of optimize this as an opportunity, a trade opportunity? And the answer is no. It's not really pointing to a lot of things in here. Here's why. Well, we do have this. This is a good thing here. We have liquidity on the offer getting filled. And we have buyers up here. Yeah, that's good. We're not really seeing much in the order book, though, that's supporting this idea. They're on the bid at a higher level down here. We don't want to see that. We want to see it dark in here. We want to see them pulling on the bid and not bidding up at these areas here. Okay, so, you know, in this case here, and we started to get some selling right in here. This is what we were looking for at the bottom of this little range here. And then the drop, right? And it just wasn't that convincing, right? So here's how we're fine-tuning and looking for something that might be an opportunity, and we're not really seeing much. Okay, so we just stay away. Let the market chop back and forth and do its thing. Okay, we don't have to be engaged in it. We're looking for something specific that gives us a higher probability. And that is based off of the behavior of these traders. Thanks, Pete. PD Money. Thank you. Hi, Deborah. Yeah, we're going to call it maybe the Deborah trade in here. But and this we can go back to this again. Maybe we revisit this, because we're not really seeing much, and we're not looking for much today. We really aren't, and it's because of this here. It's kind of it's an outside day right now, but not by much, and it's not much of a day yesterday either. Okay, so we're not really looking for much, and we're looking for some sort of insight right here. We're kind of at this kind of, it's a high volume node. We know that because we can look at right here in our volume columns. It's right at the middle, right? So we're looking for someone to move. We're looking for behavior that moves away from this high volume node here, and it's going to have to take a lot of volume. Okay, otherwise this is a magnet in here. All right, so it'll just chop back and forth within here. Okay, until we see something very distinctive that with a lot of size in here moving the market. Okay, and we don't have anything right now to really hang our hat on here. All right, so anyway, we can zoom into microstructure and start to understand details in here, and then maybe a bigger move starts to unfold for us. Yeah, let's see if it's, yeah, still this is just not convincing, even at the this 41.35 here at the bottom of the range. Still just not convincing. Market structure is starting to look a little bit better in this little structure in here. Okay, it's really not that great either. Here's some exhaustion on the sell side. Here's some buyers, a little bit of fuel up here, and then we get the move lower. So all right, well, if that's the case, then let's see if we can get exhaustion here again. And just really, we're squinting at this, trying to look for something. There's just nothing there. All right, so we're going to stay away. But market structure-wise, it made a string here of lower highs. And we do have some volume of trading up there. Okay, we want to see like maybe some volume trade up here, and then we want to see exhaustion here. All right, and then we want to see sellers pull it away from that area. Okay, so we're not really seeing it. Let's go through our market structure. This is one thing we can go through, and then we can look at some of the details in the order flow. Yeah, let me turn off. Let me clear the drawings first. Okay, and let's take a look at nothing but best bid and offer. And let's start to mark up some of the structure in here. Okay. You guys can see pretty nice structure in here. All the way across. All right. There's this kind of, this is where the sellers really dropped it here, but the structural kind of area is up here. There's a swing there, and the swing up here, of course, and then yeah, we can see this little double bottom pattern in here. And this is like a miniature, you can see it, right? This is like a miniature head and shoulders pattern up here. Okay, now I'm just going through these patterns in here. Like I said, a coop, yeah, sure, I'll show you what exhaustion looks like. You see how these patterns just repeat again and again? Like, you know, looking at this double bottom, impulse move, comes back up to the top of this little range in here. Okay, pulls back, comes back to the top of this double bottom range in here, and we get our flag pattern. Then we get this little head and shoulders pattern in here. We get the drop and a retest back to where it dropped from here in that little head and shoulders pattern. Okay, now, you know, I'm not making this up. You'll see it again and again. What we want to understand, though, and why these patterns exist, it's not, it's only due to the behavior and the traders in here that makes up this pattern. It's the order flow. It's the transactions. It is this price structure here, and that's what we want to understand. What's behind it, right? So we'll turn on the volume dots and we'll turn on the heat map here in just a minute, right? But we're really just, you know, still not really seeing much. It's pretty wonky in here. It kind of dropped below some of these areas in here. There's really not much structure here. The structure is looking better here. All right, now we're seeing our move here to the upside. So where are we looking for it to go first? 39.5. Okay, now let's turn on, or 40 maybe 40. Okay, but let's turn on our heat map now. Okay, well, there's the liquidity up here. So if these buyers in here want to meet these sellers, this is where they are. Okay, that coincides with this structure here that we just marked up. You can see where I'm going with this, Deborah. For example, how this market structure and then understanding the liquidity here is giving a lot of insight of what's happening up here. Okay, so if you see a move up into this high liquidity in here, and then it exhausts out, or we start to see sellers come back in, and then look for the move right back down. This is where you can take a short if the scenario looks good, and then take it right back down to the top of this little range in here. So somewhere around maybe 37 or 36.5. Okay, that would be the opportunity. Okay, so yeah, you know, 3.5 points, that's not bad in today's action. In fact, you know, the pretty dismal action in the S&P. Like some of these moves are just a handful of points. You know, we might have to jump over to the NASDAQ and see a bit more action. Okay, we've done that over the years. And you can see it never got up here already. You can see that a price came up to this liquidity here at 39 and exhausted out and came back down. Now, a question on exhaustion. Let's see if we can answer it right now. Okay. It's not quite exhaustion, but what the concept here is this. See the trades up here, the green dots. These are market buy orders, lifting the price up into this 39 area. Now look at the transactions up here. Like this is exhaustion right here. There's no transactions. There are none. Okay, we have some here. It retested and there were none. All right, that's basically exhaustion. Okay, this is by the aggressor. It has nothing to do with the liquidity. Okay, absorption has to do with the liquidity, but exhaustion does not. Exhaustion is about the aggressor. There's no one transacting at that level. Okay, so now what you can look for, even in this little microstructure here, you can see that you can even look for like a mean reversion trade off of this down into here, okay, where it transacted before. Okay, so here's how. Now it's not much of an opportunity, but I just want to demo how understanding this here works on all time frames. Okay, on this very small example here, low time frame example, we see some transactions up here, a bit of selling, no transactions up here. Now what we're looking for is sellers down here. Okay, and we don't get it actually. We don't get it. So I don't see it until here. Okay, and this is already too late. I mean, because we're looking for it just to go a tick lower into this kind of high volume down here. Right, so not much of an opportunity. We'll go back and forth here. We do have some buy transactions up here. Then we start to see the sell transactions again here, and then lining up here where we had none before. Okay, this is where it exhausted out. Again, on the sell side, no transactions, none in any of these areas in here. Now we're getting sellers. Now we also get the aggressors move it first, but we also get the limit order book here and here, showing more selling or supply on the offer in these areas here. Okay, so now what has happened is this is what we were looking for earlier. These guys moved it away from this structure up here. So that's why we're looking for exhaustion at the top of the structure. Okay, and we covered that even on the this time frame here. Okay, so now these sellers have taken control. Okay, and you can see that buyers have tested that control again here. Now exhaustion looks really good up here. Okay, so I would say this looks much better. It tried up here, couldn't find them. Found a few buyers here, exhausted here, more sellers here. This is looking better. There's some exhaustion again. All right, so let's see if we can get our sellers here at 36 1/4, and then looking for those sellers to try to take it down to what we were looking for earlier, 33 and our 31. Yeah. All right, so looking for our sellers here. Nothing here on the offer. That's not good, and they're on the bid here. So it's looking better. We know that there's some trap volume, so we are looking for the stop run, and we're looking for the sellers to move it now. Okay, so we are back at point of control. We're going to have to get a lot of selling in here to move it away from this magnet here, okay, at 36, which just means that a lot of transactions here at 36. Okay, bottom of the range here, or this swing here. Let's see if we get more sellers now, ready to move it back down to 33, 32, 31. All right. Well, anyway, again, nothing really clean and clear also for entries in some of these areas. Probably your best entry uh, when looking for something like this is we identified the sellers in here. Okay, we identified trap volume here by buyers and buyers in here. We identified some of the exhaustion in here, and then we identified sellers again in here, right? That's when we're looking for them to start moving it, right? So it would be someplace in here. I would probably be entering in here when I see these sellers come in, and that is kind of bottom of this range here. But in the bigger picture, I'm looking for I'm viewing this as kind of top of the range and a move back down into like here, okay, bottom of this range, either this range here or this range here, right? I still like this one down here at 33, and then see if they can break it down below. Right now, it's really, again, it's nothing great here. We do have the trap buyers here, and we can see the stop run here starting to move price lower. All right, so anyway, yeah, that's kind of what the way to start to understand this in here. Now, we went through these kinds of details yesterday as well about who's in control, and where we saw kind of a reversal take place basically, and we identified the buyers in a few different areas, and then we identified the buyers coming in and looking for them to break the range to the upside, and we managed the trade differently due to that, and we were looking for it to break the high and continue on up, and it played out pretty well. That's what we were looking for based on the scenarios that we went through. All right, so let me get to some questions in here. I imagine there's going to be quite a few. Good morning, Hector. Yeah, so you're looking at some of the pullbacks and the reversal strategies back in 2007, really? No, that's not possible. 2017, yes. But the that is evergreen content, Hector. So it really doesn't matter. It's the same things that we're looking for in here. So yeah, you can still use that information. Just because it's old doesn't mean it's bad, right? We'll be having more. We'll be creating more content for you guys though that is newer, and again, it will be evergreen content. Okay, Rob, you're looking at something. All right, we can take a quick look at that. Was this yesterday? No, I mean, no, this is today. Yeah, this is today. Rob, be very careful with the scaling right now. It's great if you can do it, but I would suggest but this is a scale out. Okay, never mind. That's fine. Yeah. The simulator screwed up. Okay. Oh, this is another, not to your fault. This is something like, you have to be very, very careful about, and is a big part of the business, to be honest. We've all seen this. And, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've experienced it. It's like, oh, I left an order open. Oh, I thought I exited. I didn't. Oh, I accidentally entered. And it just eats away your P&L. You really have to pay attention to that. and be very disciplined with your order entries. Okay, and be very, very careful with it, and very precise, because you don't, you don't want to have that happen. And if you do make a mistake, the best thing to do is exit immediately. Okay, and chalk it up as part of the business. So anyway, no, nice, Rob. Nice to see you got your scale, and then looks like you made maybe a bit of profit on it, or maybe at least break even. I hope it's okay I showed this. And let me get to some of the questions over here in YouTube. Yeah. So, and again, like, now here's our move that we're looking for, and getting involved, maybe like, it's a maybe in here, somewhere around in here, taking it down to like either here or here, and then scaling out. Okay, or maybe scaling here at the bottom of this smaller range, or maybe even here, this little range in here, right, that we had drawn up. That's fine. Now, in this case, if I was still in this, I would have been stopped. I would have moved my stop to break even, and I would have been stopped out. Okay, by this activity here. Or, maybe I see, buyers coming back in here, and I just take a small loss, right? I don't know. I would have gotten stopped out of break even, and that's that. Okay, I gave it a shot. It started to work, looking for a pullback and continuation. It didn't. It did a double bottom here, and we see buyers come and move it right back up. Right now, we were anticipating choppy environment in here, but we had a few things going our way. We can see some sellers. There's, here's our buyers here and our buyers in here, but we see that there was some exhaustion, and we see sellers come in, so we're looking for the move lower and then possibly break the lows here. Okay, give it a shot, and it didn't work out. Okay, now on days like today, I mean, this is up to like your trade management as well. If you're not expecting a trending day here, and we're really not, then maybe it's a good idea to take some profit here, okay, at this swing, okay, instead of waiting for the bigger move down to this swing here. Okay, these are all considerations, and you'll need to go and do your back testing. Okay, so when you mark up your Excel spreadsheet or your Google sheet, okay, was it an inside day? Okay, was it a trending day? Okay, this is how you can start to really optimize your trading and build your edge. All right, so put that into your plan, or into your studies. Okay, now look at this. This is getting wound up here, looking pretty good for buyers to take it back up into maybe 42 here. Okay, I don't trust it though. I mean, I like it. I like seeing the buying here, but I know what kind of day this is, yeah, I mean, I do see the buying, but I also see them here at 140, 141, and 142. Okay, so I'm not going to be a buyer up here. And I don't see an opportunity to sell yet either. There's a little bit of exhaustion here, but I want to see absorption first. I want to see these guys stay in the order book, absorb. Then I want to see exhaustion. Then I want to see sellers come in. It would be even better to see some selling on here on this little swing lower, selling again, and then a break. All right, sorry guys, I've been ranting here, and let me get to you some of your questions here. So Coop, I hope I answered your question. We'll find more and more examples of exhaustion, but the concept is rather simple. especially like on some of these double tops and bottoms. This kind of, fits the bill. This isn't truly exhaustion here, but look at how much is selling down here. And you see a lot of sellers here, right? So there's not many here. Okay, so if there's not enough sellers down here, then it's basically exhausting out, or there's not a whole lot transacting down here. We're looking for buyers back up into these areas, and then they'll take it back up into the tops of the ranges. Okay, so that is the concept here. Here, this one's much better. A little bit of selling here, okay, but not much. Okay, and look at this one here, right? Very little. Okay, just like one lot or something here. Okay, so anyway, that's the concept. And yeah, of course, we see that this move to the upside. So what we want to look at in here is understand the dynamic. Okay, did they get filled here on the bid? A little bit. Do we get a lot of buyers in here? Not really. Okay, do we have our exhaustion down here? Yeah, this looks pretty good. Now, are we starting to get buyers in here? Yes, we are up here, and we also can see them starting to pull some of that liquidity on the offer, and we can also see them add on the bid. All right, so we're not looking for much in this move, just top of the range here, or this liquidity, and take some off. Okay, maybe you get a runner out of it. In this case, you would have. Okay, and you can see that runner and this volume here moved it away from this range here, and it created a new range, as you can see it right here. All right, and that held pretty nicely, okay, for a while. All right, and then yeah, we were kind of wound up here looking for well, either the sellers to try to drop this in this area here, but we really didn't have too much. Would have loved to have seen absorption here first, but we didn't. And then we see more buyers in here, so that they were able to move it higher. And let's see if we accept higher or not. And let me get to the questions here in YouTube. So the shadow, you're watching Mark Douglas, and he said that kind of similar things. It's behavior of the traders and all those patterns. Yeah, absolutely, and that's why they repeat, right? And it's also these traps and how they, people make mistakes here. Like this one right here, I would bet. Now I'm not going to put money on it, but it looks like it wants to come down right down to 38 here right now. Okay, and there it is. Okay, now it doesn't look good enough for me to put money on it, but here's the concept. These guys are trapped. Here's our exhaustion. Okay, Coop, up in here, trades up into this liquidity here. Not too many transactions, not too many here either, and then a lack of, or very little buying, looking for our sellers, and then looking for them to drop it down here. And what do we have here? That's like a mini head and shoulders here as well. Okay, so what does it mean though? What the significance of the head and shoulders pattern is very, very simple. It's not to remember it as a head and shoulders, it's to remember it as an order flow or price action event in here. Okay, we have liquidity here on the offer, some of it getting filled, also up in here. Okay, we're at a high of a range, or kind of close to a high of a range. And then we're going back and forth in here, and then we cannot make a higher high, and we're not quite getting enough buyers. So we already had some sellers here and here. Now we're looking for more in here, and we're looking for the drop into 38. Okay, so it already unfolded. And you can look at your measured moves and everything and all that, but the concept is this: we have sellers on the offer, we have our buyers in here that are trapped. We can't get enough buyers to go higher. We're looking for sellers to drop it back down and test the low of the range. Okay, it just so happens that these things work out pretty well for a measured move as well. Okay, and look for these though. The measured move makes sense as well. First off, there's a swing. Secondly, there's liquidity. And then think about where people are going to be placing their stops, okay, that are buyers up in here. Well, probably all the way down into, maybe here or even below here. Well, they would have been hit. And we do see some stop runs in here. It's nothing significant. All right, that's what made up this head and shoulders pattern. All right. So and just I would suggest go back, and if you're a pattern trader, you like your patterns, well then go back and study this, and first off recognize it maybe as let's do the trick here with Deborah. Okay, we'll first take everything off, look for the pattern. All right, now look for something in here. Let's look at this double bottom in here. Now, it did make a lower low here. Okay, but did we get a lot of sellers in here down here? Okay, did we see a lot of buyers up in here? Okay, and we're looking for a lot of sellers and absorption in here. That would be the scenario we'd be looking for, is absorption. Okay, on the bid in here would be great. And we see maybe some aggressive buyers up in here. Okay, and then we come back down here and we have a lack of sellers. Okay, just maybe a little bit of selling down here, and then what we're looking for is the buyers start to come back in this area. Exhaustion here again. Okay, maybe just a little bit of selling in here. And then really looking for buyers in here. Okay, and then on up into here, especially here, looking for buyers, especially here. That's looking pretty good to come up to here, top of the range. All right, and that's it for now, and that would be your measured move as well. Okay, here's this. And then here's this. Okay, actually it did the measured move almost perfectly, but I would just be looking for it up here and liquidity up here. Okay, another thing is to look for your liquidity up here, okay, on the offer. All right, now that's the scenario we just went through, right? And let's get rid of our measured move here for a second. Okay, so now we're looking for, we just kind of outlined this scenario in here. Okay, this is again how to build confidence in your trading plan in here. Now let's see what really happened. Okay, we see sellers in here. We do not see much liquidity at all, okay, getting filled in here. We have some sellers down here, okay, not too much, but we don't have much really, to be honest. It's really not looking that distinctive in here. We don't have too many buyers in here. We do have liquidity here on the offer that did get filled by those buyers. Okay, and we do have the buyers up in here, okay, moving this higher. This is looking better. Okay, and then looking for the top of the range in here. And that's a horrible entry point up here. We're looking for maybe this smaller little area, and maybe in here, looking for buyers to try to take it up at least to here and then up to here. All right, and we do have liquidity up here. That's a good target above the swings, and it matches your measured move. Okay, so now you've just learned something, and you can take a screenshot of this. You can mark it up In fact, I would recommend it. Like mark it up, mark up your charts like this, and just like Rob had done with his trade example here, but he marked it up, and then now you've just gotten one step closer to knowing a lot better what's going on in the order flow here, and you've defined what happens within a double bottom pattern here. You know a lot more about it. It's the order flow that makes this up in here, right? And there's going to be many variations of this in here. Okay, now this variation is not a very strong one, but you will see things like this. Sometimes you won't see any liquidity or very little selling in here. You'll see heavy selling in here into heavy liquidity on the bid down here. It might be a variation like that. Okay, or you might not see any and you get a huge iceberg down here, and then you look to see if it comes back up and you start to find those buyers, maybe some exhaustion here and buyers here looking for the move higher, right? So anyway, maybe just start with your market structure. Okay, the Deborah method here, and Deborah, if I'm bothering you, and if you think it's harassment, no worries, we'll call it something else. But start with your market structure. Understand your market structure. Now start to turn on the volume dots, start to turn on the heat map, start to understand what makes up that structure. All right, so let me get to more of these questions in here. Thanks, Bobby. Nice to have you in here. Can I recommend a good video maybe at the end here to set up the drawings? Yeah, the add-ons to get like icebergs and stops. Just start with the market structure here. All right, and then you can always get the add-ons. This is an incredible insight here to understand what kind of orders are transacting within the order flow is pretty amazing. Okay, and it will give you an edge. It's not a signal though. All right, so just keep it simple. Right. In fact, I would recommend don't even look at the sub panel, and be more disciplined in understanding what's happening in here when you turn on the volume dots and the heat map. Okay, so then you go through these some of these order flow events in here and start to understand really what's happening. Okay, so here we go again. Look at this. We cannot make a higher high. Here's our exhaustion, looking for sellers right here, and now looking for the sellers to drop it down to 38. Okay, now that's only a 1.25, but I'm looking for it. I have my reasons. Okay, now is it high probability in here? Not really. Okay, not really. Here's why. Look at the order book. You know, we're only looking at the price structure and the aggressor in here. That's it. Okay, when we have the heat map in here that gives us more insight, we have more to lean on at that point. Okay, look at this buying in here. That's likely an iceberg it hit, likely, because it failed to lift the offer higher. So let's double check that. And there it is. There's our iceberg right there. See that? Okay, and why did we think that? Because these buyers failed to move price higher. It's pretty good buying. It failed to move it higher. So, you know, then we're looking for this move lower into, and it's almost done it here, 38. Okay, just the swing here. Maybe it can go down to this swing here at 36 3/4, 37. Coop, there's another good example of some exhaustion. Here's our buyers here. There's a little bit of liquidity up here as well. And then here, lack of or very little buying, a little bit of selling in here, not much. and then lack of buying again, cannot make it higher. That's like a triple top. Okay, the buyers can't lift it, and they can't even make a higher high up here from just minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. Okay, so yeah, we'd be looking for sellers to drop it, and we're still looking for it, and the buyers continue to come in here. This was our iceberg here, and another little iceberg in here. So we know that there's larger players in here also. They're shorting it in here. All right, so now let's look for the sellers here. Here's again exhaustion, Coop, right there. Okay, let's get our sellers in here, and let's see them drop it down to 36.5. And now we have, look at these buyers at 38 though, kind of in the way here. I want to see them pull, and I want to see I want to see our sellers take them on and trade right through them. Yeah. See how that we get a little bit of buying in there. I'll bring it right back to the top of the range. All right. So anyway, like we really haven't, you know, had a really clean outlook today on any of these moves. We'll still go through them and go through the scenarios, but you know, the looking for something very clean and solid, we really haven't seen much. All right, let me get back to these questions, guys. I'm sorry. Market, what do I mean by structure? I'm talking about the price action creating the structure. Now, it has nothing to do with volume. Well, it's the volume that moves the market. That we can talk about that. I mean, like, you know, what moves the market here is the aggressor. Okay, the market buy orders or the market sell orders. That's just how it works. Okay, even if like the spread widens out and there's only buyers on the bid down here, let's say at 38, there has to be a seller to move it down there. He wouldn't be too happy, but the spread would have to widen out, and it's the aggressor that actually makes the move. Okay, the liquidity is down here. It's the other side of the trade and a very important part, but it is the aggressor that is moving it technically. Let's see, Bobby, about the drawing tools are here, right in Bookmap. You can use those, or you can take a screenshot and use any sort of like a screenshot software. I use Snagit. It's kind of expensive. I'm sure there's others out there that are a lot cheaper. You can also take screenshots right here from Bookmap. You can mark them up in here, and then you can use this tool up here, take a screenshot, and then save it or copy the link, or you can post it immediately to your Twitter or Facebook right here, which is nice. We've had it for years. Nice tool. Let's see, AC. Well, since those bubbles are delta, when you don't see a bubble, it doesn't necessarily mean that there are zero transactions. Yeah, that's true. I mean, like there could be equal buyers and sellers. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, nice, AC. Very true. Today's range is even smaller. Yeah, I know, Jack. It's not. There's not much to look at today. We can jump over to another market if you guys like. I mean, the S&P gets just mind-numbing for me. We've had good price action though for a while, but we're only talking like a couple points in here in these small ranges, and it's just it's kind of dismal. Yeah, Shadow, CPI numbers tomorrow for sure. You know, everyone's kind of waiting for data and more insight. That's where you can start to look for, though, you know, some of these setups that we're talking about in here about trap volume, and looking for stop runs to the other side. Let me see. Is exhaustion happening at the 41.41 area? Yeah, up here. Now, truly, technically, exhaustion means there is no transactions. Okay. And there are some here. There are 10. Okay, according to our volume column. And all it means, again, it's not so much the definition, is understand, what's behind it here. It just means that there's a lack of, and now this gets into auction market theory about if within the auction there is a lack of buyers. There's no buyers. Think about it, an auction for anything. If there are no buyers, where is price going to go? It is going to test lower. It has to. In an auction, it has to, because no one or the the seller is just saying, well, I'm going to take this price, or that's it, nothing else, nothing lower. Okay, maybe the seller, though, like in an auction, just says, well, okay, I'll give in. I'll go for a lower price. And then you'll get some transactions in a lower area. And what we can look at, and now this gets into your auction market theory with profile, is that these tapered edges in here, and again, like, don't worry about the tapered edges, just understand that there's not a lot of transactions up here. Okay, and if there's not a lot of transactions up here, okay, look at this beautiful tapered edge in here. Okay, not a lot in here. There's 10 times more down here compared to up in here. All right, so is there demand to take price up into here? No, not yet. No one's showing any interest up in here. So what is price doing? It is just going back and forth within these big profiles, which just means that it is we don't see someone lifting it away from this area here. It seems to be transacting in here. This seems to be a value area. Okay, you don't have to have profile for that. Okay, it's just a concept in here to understand that price cannot get outside of this area. Okay, it goes back and forth. It tried here on the buy side, failed. Tried here on the sell side, or even here, failed. Okay, and we're just going back and forth in here. Okay, here's our exhaustion yet again. Okay, up in here. Sellers here, this is better, right? Sellers at the bottom here, looking for more exhaustion here, looking for them to take it down to 38. And again, it's a few points, but this is looking better actually for now sellers to try to drive it lower into maybe 36.5 or maybe 34.5. Okay, and start a new range in here. Now, if that is the case, okay, Deborah, then you're selling this top edge up into this zone up in here. Okay, if you get lucky and you get a price in there. Okay, you can set your limit order in here, and again, your limit order, is it'll likely have to trade through it. So think about that. Your limit order, you got to place it maybe one tick below. Okay, now this is where, like on days like today, you have to be really careful. So here's your opportunity right here. Okay, so right in that little area in here, you would have gotten filled here at 39.5 because price went through it and transacted higher, one tick higher. So you would have gotten filled here. All right, now this is where the risk comes in, and you just have to accept that. That's a part of trading. It is a part that we all share, no matter what our setups are. Right now, we don't have a lot here either. We just have some exhaustion. I don't see a lot of seller transactions down here though. Right, so I don't really like it, and I also don't like the order book in here. So I don't think this is high probability. And it's looking better now. We see more sellers, and they're starting to pull here on the bid. Okay, so looking for sellers to try to drive it now. Okay, but if we had this scenario here of sellers down here, exhaustion up here like this, okay, and then these guys on the bid, they would be down here only, and in fact you'd look for on the offer up in these areas here. Okay, so now what happened here? What happened is you became part of the business. Okay, and you're getting stopped out now. Right? So if this was your entry in here, and this is why, look at the, and I know this is not much to look at, but bottom of the range in here, you can take some off to reduce your risk and put your stop at break even, or just put your stop at break even, and you would have been stopped out at break even. Okay, but the problem is what happens to a lot of us is okay, this it's starting to fit, it's starting to look, even though we didn't have a great setup in here. Okay, we covered that and why. But if we get that, and yet it goes against us in here, what's happening is we're the trap. We're the ones that are trapped in here as sellers, and we're going to be the measured move to the upside here. Okay, so ways to avoid it: get out, okay, and don't become part of that business. Okay, now you can see what happened. It ended up doing what we were looking for anyway, but it had to stop these sellers out here. It had to trap these buyers up here, and now we're getting the move down lower. Okay, it's maddening, right? But this is you can look for these things within the market, and it's going to happen again and again and again. So have your safeguards. Okay, and these are considerations for your trade management. And this is looking good for going lower still, 36.5. You can look for maybe 36 mean reversion down into here, but I think there's enough selling in here, or enough buying in here to get enough selling to maybe come down into our 34, and maybe our 31 here now. Maybe this is our bigger move here. Okay, now it's starting to play out, but where did we get all those sellers? We only got them in here. And we need to see these guys. We need to see this kind of selling here. We want to see it down below the point of control. Okay, and then we're going to get our move outside to outside edge here. Okay, down to here. Right, so if we don't get that, watch this. You'll get the buyers, they'll move it right back into here, or maybe even here. Okay, let's see. Okay, well, we got liquidity here at 34. That's good. All right, here come our buyers. All right, let's see them trap these guys and move right back into 36 and 37.5. 36.5, I should say, and 37.5. Right, so we're going through the scenarios in here, looking for where that selling is taking place and moving price away from an area. And this is not it. We want to see the sellers down here, like we said, and moving it away from this kind of magnet here of all these transactions, okay, within this big old range in here. All right. So anyway, let's take a step back here and let's review a little bit. And let me get to your questions. I'm still behind on the questions in here. Okay, it was a technical issue that where the platform would. Okay, so that was on your trade of 8, I guess. Hi, AN. Okay, yeah, we can take a look more at structure. Okay, yeah, so I've answered those questions. Green shot is what you use for your screenshots. Okay, and it's free. Oh, okay, that's nice to know. Okay, the Deborah setup. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I've got it. I've got your permissions. Yeah. Today's a tough day. I mean, I really don't see a lot of anything in here, to be honest. Like that's really worthy. And you can see like this move to the outside edge here on all this selling, it's moved right back in. So again, like I forget, AC maybe said that we're looking for um, waiting for data here. That's very typical. Jignesh, let's see, where are the dots with orders and stops showed earlier? Yeah, we have that here in the on chart indicator. Okay, the stops and icebergs. Right now I'm only showing in the sub chart. Okay, you get this with it though. It comes with it. Now this is something that Slowdown had mentioned I think a while back, or maybe he just mentioned it to me personally. But it's really important. It's a really good point. We're all looking for this market to move, and we all want to make money. But many of the times it just doesn't move, and there's nothing we can do about that. We have no control here. This is like the ocean in here, and you're just like a little bobbing like a ball in the ocean. Okay, and what we can look for is behavior in here to try to move that market, and that's the best we can do, I feel. Okay, this is a mess. Let me clear all the drawings again. So anyway, here are your stops and icebergs on chart. Okay, so you can read and see the details in here. Yeah, here's our little, we saw that little iceberg in here, remember? Well, actually, this is really funny. I just love this kind of stuff. I just love it. Look at this. This is what unfolded here. We saw that little iceberg in here, remember? And then we saw another one down here, right? It is only one iceberg here for 511 contracts. This is that one trader. He started trading here as iceberg, transacted here. We can even show exactly when, right here. Here it is, detected, 76 here. Okay, then 10. Okay, and then it started to transact here. It remained on the offer here, absorbing price, and then they dropped it here. The iceberg dropped down a couple ticks and absorbed more here. Okay, and that's when we saw this transaction, and this transaction failed to move price higher. So we knew something was up here, and yeah, and it was an iceberg. So then we saw the other one down here, but it was really just one trader and one iceberg, okay, that executed fully for, and it got pretty aggressive here. It trailed down to get filled here, and for 511 contracts, right? That's one player here. That's pretty insightful. Okay, now that's where we put this together with other things though for confluence. Okay, so look at this move here. I mean, this is just it's all over the place. And we're at our European close here in about 10 minutes, but yet again, remember how we're looking at this, and we saw exhaustion in here. We're looking for our sellers in here to try to drive it down to at least here, and then maybe here. Okay, and then we would have gotten stopped out here by these guys in here. It turned around, comes back down. We get sellers. We're looking for the kind of point of control. It went through it down into this liquidity here in bottom of the range. But down here, we're like, yeah, no, we're not looking for sellers in here. We know that there's sellers and buyers in there. We're looking for sellers down here to move it away. So here we're looking for a move back into our 36.5, 37.5 area. And we got that. And now look at the above here. You can see it. Here are the buyers coming in, and they are hitting the other side now of the market. Okay, maybe this is enough. Maybe there's enough sellers now trapped in here to get a bigger move. Okay, and if so, where do we think it's going to go? Well, let's take a look here. Okay, on a 15-minute chart, we'd look for 42.5 up here, or maybe the gap fill, 52.5. Maybe that's enough. So we've spent this whole session basically going between 32 and 41. Okay, about a 10-point range in here. But well, let's see, it was 32 to a little bit less than that, a little less than 10 points, but somewhere around there. That's not bad, actually. I shouldn't complain. A lot of times we've seen a whole session in the S&P just go for like 3 points. All right, so let's see, a question about the market structure. Okay, just same process. We're looking at the candlesticks in here, market structure of like range in here, stuck in this range here, and also yesterday it's the same process. Okay, now up here, right, look at this up here. Okay, we're up at the top of this range in here. Okay, do we have enough buyers in here is the question. Okay, we made higher highs in here, right, in this structure. Okay, now we're coming up here, and we really need to see buyers in here. And we want to see the order book pull on the offer, add on the bid, and we want to see more buyers. If we can get this scenario, we can get a nicer move outside of this range for the day, this horrible range, and we can get a trending move maybe up to here. Okay, some areas to consider. Think about all the volume in here. Okay, maybe you take some partial profit around 44.5. Okay, or maybe you hold for the gap fill up into here. Okay, same ideas though. Right now, let's see, what does the order flow look like? Okay, yeah, I don't like it. I see liquidity here getting filled. I don't see a whole lot of buyers in here. It does not look that convincing. Look at the offer up in here. I see a lot of sellers up here. All right, well, that's the behavior. So yeah, I'm not looking for a breakout right now. What about the bid? Well, yeah, I see the bid down here a little bit, but not a whole lot to shout about either. So Deborah, but I would not have traded that. Would have traded what? Which one? Maybe the calm before the storm. Yeah, this is exactly right, Bobby. I mean, the market gets wound up in here. There's buyers, there's sellers, there's buyers, there's sellers, and then one of them's going to win, and the others are going to have to cover. The rundown, I would have not have. No, I mean, if yeah, like we covered in here, like I mean, this in here, like nothing really was good today. At least from my point of view. Maybe you guys saw something else. I don't know. But by looking at the transactions, the market structure, and the order book in here, there was a lot of different things happening. We look for these moves to unfold in certain directions here, but nothing really shouting to us that, wow, this is looking good. It's looking ready to move here, right? I mean, up in here, we could say that even with all this buying up in here, traded into this liquidity here, in the order book on the offer looks you know, pretty strong. That you know, you could look for sellers and trade it back into, maybe it trades back down to 36 here, okay, or at least down to here, okay, 38. All right, now think about it again. Same ideas, same concepts here. Look at all these buyers here. And we almost have a structure too. The structure is actually here, right? Just around 40 or 30, 39 and a half, let's call it. And if that is the case, well, then we can get a nice move right back down to here, potentially. Okay, or here, and it's already done that, almost. Right? Same ideas. These guys are trapped back into the range here, and then where are they going to get stopped out? Yeah, maybe it has to come to the other side of the range here, 34. Okay, but this is your outside edge here, and you're looking to trade it back into the range here. Okay, so yeah. And again, like, does it look really that good in here? No, not really. Not really. Even for that setup, it does not look that good. We have the order book here on the offer. That's good. They were on the bid here, though, and we didn't see our big, you know, we want to see some of those selling in here. And then a lack of buying in here, which it did a little bit. That's when it started to look better. And then we had sellers in here again, right? And that's where, to me, it looked like it was ready to drop. Okay, but I didn't know in here. And I didn't have the sellers in here either. In fact, we have an iceberg there buying. Right, so again, it just didn't look that good. This is a variation of our double top, and it just didn't look that good. So let me clear again the drawings, and let's take a look at our double top in here. And I'm going to take the stops and icebergs on chart. I'm going to take it off. Okay, so we have a little more clarity. So here's another variation up here. And now it doesn't look, like I said, it really doesn't look that good. We do see some absorption in here. That's good. Okay, and we do have some exhaustion here. That's good. And we do have the offer here. That's good as well. Okay, but we had some on the bid down here, and we also didn't have a lot of selling in here. All right, so it's okay. It's not that bad, but you'll see better variations of it. And we're also at the top of these ranges in here too. Okay, so and then here's our move back into the middle. Yeah, to me, like I said, I wouldn't have gotten in it, but it looked good. It started to look pretty good down here. A little bit riskier would be to look for exhaustion in here, start to see a little bit of sellers, and just to, you know, maybe try to front run or look for the move back down to here, and maybe you can break it as well. You know, that's one of the things that is nice is you can look for like a micro range in here, and you know, look for that exhaustion and that selling starting to come in here, and it's here. There's our exhaustion, more selling, right? And then you can start to look for it to trade to the bottom. It is at the bottom of range. So it really didn't look good in here. Not even in here. Until it got down here. Then it started to look pretty good. Right? And then you'd have to take this much risk though. So is it worth it? Here's your risk. Okay, so it's about 2 points worth. Okay, now, and it went against you like 3 ticks, right? And it would have made money, but like, is it worth it? I don't know. Not for me. I'll just look for something better. The E, Bobby, means the number of, or is fully executed iceberg. And the number next to it means how many were executed, correct? Yeah, Luke, it could pick up to the downside here today. It could pick up either way, really. I don't have much of a bias here. Yeah, I don't know. And let's just kind of recap here, and then we got to end the webinar. All right, so look at this. I mean, it looks horrible. It really does. All it's done, this market has done, is explored outside of these ranges in here, and that's about it. Yeah, and there's a lot in between. Yeah, not much to look at today, guys. So sorry, that's just the way the market is today. I think you're onto something. I mean, like obviously data and reaction to important data is going to move the market, or will get traders to move the market. All right, they'll have a different outlook on the market, and their behavior will reflect it. So you know what? I would suggest this. Well, Tom B is up right now. You can go over and I imagine he's going to talk about inside day and the big range in here, and the up in here it's there's no value, and down below there's no value, etc. That's his way of looking at the market structure. I would also highly recommend this guy is he's great at it. Is this webinar here? Okay, now it's crypto, but John Slazas right here. Okay, he will go through the market structure. He's an expert. Okay, he has many studies, and his studies were based off of decades studying the futures markets, and he decided to jump into crypto. Some years ago, and he still trades futures, I believe. You'll have to ask him, but anyway, that webinar starts at 1 p.m. East Coast time, and he will go through and give you a lot on structure, right? And ask him all sorts of questions. Become an expert on the market structure. He'll go through it all. So you will see him talk about these kind of neutral days, and he'll draw up the structure like this. He'll look for, okay, it failed here, maybe it comes back in, and then you can look for an extension, something. He has all of these things kind of all drawn up, and then he'll talk all about it. That's what we've been doing, is looking for traps, the sellers trap down here, and then we're looking for buyers here, lack of sellers here, and then here above here buyers, right? Maybe possibly to the other side of the range, possibly a breakout, or maybe just to the point of control. right? So maybe just back to the mean. Okay, likely if it fails here, many times it will trade to the other side of the range. Now I shouldn't I don't have a statistic on that. I've heard it's 80%, but you'll have to do your own studies. Okay, so a lot of times we see that what will happen instead is we'll get a move up into this liquidity, or there might be heavy liquidity here on the offer, and will not be able to get through the most traded level. It'll trade to it, won't get through it, and then you'll see a lack of trading. You'll see sellers come in and they will drive it away. They'll drive it with big volume away. Okay, on down. So that's your retest up to point of control and failure, and then the move away. Anyway, guys, yeah, please, if you like this, not much to go through today. I mean, we went through a lot. There's not a lot of action to take a look at, though. But please hit the like button. That helps us definitely. And yeah, anyway, and go back and do your studies here. Go through and put together your variations in here for your double tops, your double bottoms, or triple tops, whatever it is. Start to put this together, mark them up, draw them up, and what it might look like. We went through that exercise earlier. Now you have something. You have a variation. You can study it. Look for another one. Okay, what does it look like? Here, here's our double top up in here. And it wasn't we kind of said, it's not that great. It's not that bad either. We just didn't really see it until down here. Even when we zoomed into like really tight structure, microstructural areas in here, it really didn't look that good. It looked pretty good down here though. All right, now do you want to take the risk though is the question. Okay, you can see that yeah, you would have done great if you just traded back into the this little area right here where the buyers took control, and took your profit here. Okay, otherwise you'd be stopped out at break even here, okay, at 41.40. All right, guys, yeah, thanks everybody. Have a great day. We'll catch up with you on Friday.